switch.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today we got a wave tutorial with some beard work. We'll be doing high tapers on the side and on the back. So right now I'm just knocking down the top to a 2 guard all the way around. Around the crown area we are doing a number 2 open, just to keep it a little bit more thicker around that crown area. After we do that, we're going to take no guard, lever close, and make our initial guideline. And from here we're going to open up the lever and start making our initial panel that we are going to fade into. I am using the TPOB Yeti clipper. You can find this on Amazon for $85, prime shipping, 2 to 3 days depending on where you're at. After that, we're gonna do some lever play with no guard, and we're just gonna get to this taper and get them nice and blended, get it nice and blurry. I just thought I'd get on here and do a tutorial. It's been a minute since I've recorded an extra tutorial, so I got to get back in the swing of that. It's been very busy if you guys have been following the channel, but we got the 1 guard on there, lever closed, making another panel of hair to fade into. Once we get that 1 guard lever closed, we will go down to the half guard and lever play to get that area knocked out. Now, as you can see here, I do a sad face type shape on the back. And the reason being is when we get to the edge of portion, you'll see that the edges stay dark when you do make this type of pattern. Now, a lot of y'all I know go be in the comments like, oh, that taper is too high, but this is a client request. And if you're in the Texas area, you know that high tapers are somewhat popping down here in Texas. So that's what we're doing today. I hope you guys gained something from this video. I will try to pass off as much knowledge and gems as I can when it comes to the haircuts. So right now we're just lever playing, like I said, and I am going real time with the actual blend work. When I make the panels of hair, I do speed it up a little bit just so we can get that area knocked out quickly and not have too much time on the video. But if you are watching this video and you stay through the whole thing, I truly appreciate y'all. That's what I do it for. But we got that 1.5 guard on there, lever close, making another panel of hair to fade into. So all I'm doing with this taper here is just stacking guards essentially. So we go from the half to the 1 to the 1.5, all the way up to a 3 guard, I believe. So once we have that 1.5 panel made, we drop back down to the 1 guard. I'm going to go ahead to begin to lever play with that 1 guard. So what I mean by lever play, if you don't know, is I'll make a panel of hair to fade into, then I'll put the previous guard on, open up the lever, slightly fade up, open up the lever, slightly fade up until we have that area completely blended out. Now this is just the process that I follow, and it's how I learned how to cut hair and what I've established for myself as a process. So you want to make sure that you have a process when you are fading. Now this is the number 2 guard, lever closed. We're creating another panel of hair to fade into, then we will revert to the 1.5 guard and lever play. Now it's not going to be a perfect open the lever, slightly fade up, open the lever, slightly fade up. That is the general idea, but you will have to mess with that lever every now and then to play with dark areas and to get it blended out. Now we are doing clipper over comb, lever closed, and this Yeti clipper, if you have not seen the review, go check that out. I'll leave a card up on the top you guys can click on. But we are doing some clipper over comb, and it just eats through the hair. It blends well. This is a magnetic motor clipper, 10,000 RPMs. It eats through bulk, it fades well. And now I got that 3 guard on there, lever closed, just trying to blend into the rest of the bulk we have there. Now this taper looks extremely high from this angle because my client is looking down, so you want to take into consideration that once he lifts up his head, it won't look as drastically high, and you'll see that at the end when we get done with this taper area. So I'm just kind of lever playing, combing the hair, fading, combing the hair to make sure that we get an even blend, make sure we feed the hair properly, evenly through the clipper, through the actual guards. As you can see there, we're going with the grain, with the lever open, and I do drop the lever slightly in areas where I see it needs to be a little bit more blended. And this is just knocking down that area and just getting it as blended as possible, but also keeping the darkness in that area around the bulk. Now after we do that, we are going to do the side taper here, and I have that lever closed, no guard, and we're making our first panel of hair to our bald line actually, and then we will open up the lever and make our first panel of hair to fade into. But while we are on this side, I am going to lever play with that and get this area blended in with the beard area until we get to the next guard. So once we blend that in, I am going to open up that lever and begin to create a panel of hair to fade into. Then we lever play and get that area blended out. Now this is just erasing lines. Theoretically, you're creating a panel, then you're erasing a line underneath it, and then you just do that by stacking guards up the side of the head till you have that area completely blended out. Now I know a lot of waver clients do like usually to have like a low taper, but my client was digging the high taper the first time I gave it to him, and ever since then he's been asking for the high taper, and it just comes out very nice. Has a nice contrast to it. You can see the gradiency in the blend once we get through it. But this is a 1 guard lever closed, creating the panel of hair to fade into. Then we will drop back down to that half guard and then begin to lever play and get that area knocked out. Now the guards I am using are the TPOB slime guards that do come with the TPOB troll clipper. That is another review that you have to watch if you have not watched that one. That's a rotary motor, and this is a magnetic motor. But this blend is coming together, and you will see as we get, it looks like it's not going to come together, but as we continue to go on with the process and continue to go on with our blend, we will get this area blended out. Now we got that 1.5 guard, created a panel hair to fade into, then drop back down to that 1 guard and lever play to get that knocked out. Now with wave clients specifically, you want to make sure that you are brushing, fading, brushing, fading, brushing, fading constantly, because the hair will curl up and you don't want that. You want to make sure that you are feeding the hair evenly through the clipper guard. So make sure you take that into consideration. Always have a brush in your hand, or always have a comb in your non-dominant hand to make sure that you are brushing the hair. Now the biggest thing with waver clients is that you want to make sure that you aren't taking too much into the waves on the top, especially with this high taper. Now if you're doing a low taper, you don't want to take too much waves off that C cup area and so on. Now once you get to this area, I am going to debulk here and go with the grain, and this is with a 2 guard at first, and I noticed that this wasn't doing the job, and I do drop down to, I believe, a 1.5 to get that area knocked out. Now you can see that area, there's a line of demarcation near the corner of his hairline, and it's pretty harsh, so I'm just taking my time working at this until we get this completely knocked out. And you want to make sure that you are being tedious and being detailed with your haircuts to make sure that you give your client the best possible piece of work that you can. Now I started off with the lever open with that 1.5 guard and worked my way to the lever close with the grain to get this area completely blended. Now you can see it's a little bit more soft, and we get that 2 guard and kind of just going into the hair, but not so much deep into the parietal ridge. We're kind of floating off the side and flicking at it so we can get this area blended out. Now if you dig into the parietal ridge, you are going to create more lines, and that is something that I'm trying not to do at this portion of the haircut. So you want to make sure, like I said, just keep brushing, open that lever if you need to, and make sure you get it as blended as possible. Now once we do all this, I do drop down to the 1 guard. You know, we were doing the 1.5 guard lever open before. Now we got that 1 guard lever open, and you can see my pinky on that, or my index finger on that lever, and I'm dropping that lever down slightly as I see necessary with the grain. And then we go back over it and just try to get those little details out. I'm using like the first probably 4 teeth of the blade to just detail that area. And then once you do all that, we are going to do the beard blend, and what you're doing is just stacking guards, but in the opposite direction. Instead of going up with the blend, you will be going down to fade out that area towards the sideburn. Now my client, he doesn't want anything taken off his beard, so we are just going to edge up the back of the beard and also the top line on his cheek to make sure that is all sharp and crispy. Now I got that number 2 guard on there. I'm kind of just flicking with it just to get it blended as much as possible, but keeping the bulk of the beard together. He does like how bulky and dark that area is right by his ear, and we don't want to take it too far into the bulk of the beard. So I'm going with the grain with that number 2 guard and kind of just flicking at it and flaring out at the bottom to keep that shape. Now what we did to the left side is what we're going to do the exact same thing on the right side of the head, or vice versa. What we did on the right side of the head, we're going to do the left side of the head. Now I just time lapse this because it's the same exact steps that you did on the opposite side of the head. You're going to be doing to the same. You're going to be doing to the other side. You want to make sure that you're maintaining symmetry, maintaining reference points in your blend to make sure that you have it even and symmetrical as possible. Now I know that's very difficult because nobody is asymmetrical, so you want to make sure that you can keep that symmetry. But right now we're doing the hairline prep. We got that 1.5 guard lever close, and we're going over that front area of the hairline, kind of just soften that area up just a little bit more before we do the edge up. Now after we do this, we are going to start edging up the nape area behind the beard and all that, and get to the front edge up last. So these are the TPOB X trimmers, and you can see here they are eating through this hair. It's slicing like butter. The hair just melts between those blades, and it gets it nice and crispy, nice and sharp. Another good thing is that my client has a great hair texture for this type of haircut that he wanted. But you can see there, you can see the line is very visible on the back of that neck area, and that is from the shape that we created at the very beginning of the haircut on that back neck taper. So by making that sad face shape, we're able to keep the lines on the side dark. Now you can see here that blend is nice and buttery. We're edging up around the ear. These trimmers right here, they just eat through hair. Stay tuned for that unboxing. I will be dropping that soon, if it is not already dropped by the time you see this. But these X trimmers, they hitting 7,200 RPM brushless motor. That cycle blade on there is going dumb. But right here, edging up around the ear, just keeping everything fluid. You want to make sure that your haircut flows, and we're not taking too much from behind the beard. We want to keep that full shape to it still. So you can see me knocking at that line right there. What we did to the left side, we do to the right side. Like I said, you want to make sure that you maintain that symmetry. But my boy is dipping. He's got them waves up there, and they're going to pop even more towards the end of this haircut after we do a little bit of tricks at the end. But edging up around the ear, and then we're going to go ahead and get to that front edge up. One of the most difficult things with the front edge up is that you don't want to be pushing people back, but you also got to pay attention to how much of the hair is actually hanging over his hairline. A lot of times with wavers, because their hair is cut with the grain majority of the time, there's a lot of hair that hang over the bang area. So you can push it back, not push it back, you can cut back a little bit more than what you can see with the eye or on the camera. Most people would think that you're pushing back if you're recording, but honestly, if you are standing there by your client, facing him like face to face, you will see that there's hair overhanging, and you're not really pushing your client back. You're just cutting off any excess hair that lays over his hairline, and that's what we're doing here. So we got that front edge up looking nice and crispy. No enhancements on this haircut, all natty, all natural. And when we get to the razor work, and you'll see how the light is hitting that blend, and it is butter. But I hope you guys are getting some information from this. We got the I like to tilt my client back and do the mustache area. It gives me more visibility. Make sure if you're behind the chair that you are utilizing that chair to your advantage. Make sure you're tilting your clients back. It just gives you more easier ways to reach different parts of the mustache and stuff like that. So taking it off the lip line and getting it sharp right above under the nostrils. So you have to flip that trimmer over and go against the grain on the top of the mustache to make sure you get the sharpest possible edge up, just like this right here. But you can see them waves is hidden, that taper is blurry, the haircut is coming along nice and smooth. The beard, we didn't take too much off, and now we're gonna hit that edge up on the cheek area and just make sure that everything is nice and sharp. So when you're doing razor work, you want to make sure that you are stretching the skin going against the grain. So if you're going down with your strokes, you want to make sure you're pulling the skin away from the direction of the blade and what the blade is traveling. So you can see here, I'm stretching that skin out and getting it nice and crispy. Now one little nugget is, when you stretch the skin and you get that hairline straight, the straighter you get it, the more curved of a look you're going to get after the razor work is done. So right now we're just edging up the vertical bars with the razor. We did the top, and now we're going to go ahead and do the opposite side. So I'm stretching the skin, going against the grain, stretching the skin, going against the grain. So as you pull that skin and you get that hairline straight and you go against the grain, you're going to get a more circular shape on that edge up. And we're going to use the razor work and get all that hair off his cheeks. Make sure it's nice and bald so you can create that contrast from the hairline to the actual edge up. But right here you can see my client's been growing his beard for a smooth minute. It's looking nice. I can't wait to actually shape it because it'll give it a much more cleaner look. But there's the razor work, nice and crispy. And after that, we're going to do some freehand shaping with our TPOB Yeti. We're just riding the waves. Basically, we're not digging into it. You want to make sure that the butt of the blade is leaning on the client's head, and make sure that the blade is angled up. That way you're not digging into the actual waves. We're just getting any free flying hairs And after all that, we're gonna go ahead and spray some oil sheen on the client. This is ORS olive oil sheen, and I take a neck strip and I start to compress those waves and get all that excess hair knocked off with that. It collects on the actual neck strip, as well as getting that oil sheen distributed into the client's hair. But that is the haircut. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you got something from it, drop something down in the comments to let me know that you watched this whole video. I appreciate everybody for watching this video. We got my client nice and blurry, nice and taped up. Stay tuned for more videos to come. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, turn on your post notifications. That boy crispy. I can't wait to do more tutorials. It's good to be back in my bag, back on the tutorials. Can't wait to give you guys some more nuggets, more information, more gems. Y'all go check out the other vlogs. We got other unboxing and reviews. But that'll do it for this video. Y'all stay blessed and have a good day, night, whatever it may be.